This is 2014 New York Sharks football. This is Shark Bite with Pat Brown. I'm here with Coach Rich Harrigan. The New York Sharks made a triumphant return to the IWFL with a 50-0 win over the Connecticut Wreckers. And Coach, how does it feel to be victorious in the first win of the season and as the Sharks returning to the IWFL?
It feels important. It's important to always start off the season on a great note, regardless of where you are or who you're playing. That first win can dictate a lot of things. So it felt very important to us to get this done.
Second thing, from myself and Dave's standpoint, the rookies did not look like typical rookies at all. Give us your take on how the rookies performed today.
Well, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. We got very fortunate with these rookies that came in this year. The majority of them, about 3/4 of them, came in already in shape. Already, they were athletes, ready to go. So they had the hand and eye coordination, they had the foot coordination, they had the peripheral vision, they had the balance, they had the control of their bodies. So it made it easier to get through the fundamentals with them. Then it was all technique and learning football. Right. So we were very, very fortunate, and that's I feel very appreciative to have them here with us like that.
50-0. I don't know if you thought that the score would be this big, but it looked like your offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage. Defense was very aggressive. Let's talk about the other aspects that you're not pleased with. What do you believe you have to work on going to the next week's game against a familiar opponent?
Well, it was obvious because it was first game jitters, first game being a bit over anxious. So there were some mental mistakes on special teams. There were some great things on special teams too, but some individual mental mistakes. You know, people not understanding when to get away from a punt return when the ball's short. People not understanding if they're coming in or out. You know, not tapping someone out and letting someone know. And just some of the basic rules of the game that some of the rookies didn't know, like how to fall on a fumble and if it's live or not. You know, just little things. So we can correct that. Those are correctable things.
You didn't see any mental mistakes as far as like offsides or holding penalties. I think this is the first time that I've been here that the Sharks have not had a holding penalty in a game.
It's funny you said that because the only mistakes we made, the penalties came on the defensive side today. You know, the refs were very, very stingy with anything close to the helmet, any sort of helmet-to-helmet hits. They were watching that closely. They made me aware of that, because they're really pressing on these concussions, and I told the players. But again, we have a lot of rookies and some veterans who are only second-year veterans that have to learn that.
Right. Let's talk about next week's game. We're very familiar with them. We've been playing them since 2008. What do you believe that we need to take from this game going into next week, knowing that we've already seen them in our scrimmage, and what things are you planning on doing or not doing for next week's game?
Well, we're going to definitely turn it up a notch on defense especially. Our secondary got somewhat tested today, and they made some mistakes. They weren't really covering their responsibilities well throughout the play. They were near the ball, but they could have done a lot better. So that's where we're going to really amp it up, and we're going to fix it right there. I think offensively, our tempo's going to continue to go a little bit quicker and going to pick it up a little bit better. And I think that'll get us ready for a huge opponent around the corner. But we will be ready for them.
And I'm sure that they're very well aware of us, and like we have a good relationship with them, but they're also our rival. So we know that next week is going to be big, and I just thank you for taking the time out, and it's always a pleasure to speak to you, and next week it's going to be on.
Appreciate the time. Thank you for having me.
This has been Shark Bite 2014 New York Sharks football on the Women's Football Network. Next week, the opponent is the Pittsburgh Passion.
Cut.